So like I mentioned, you could also serge the inside edge of this woven, like I did on the sides, but you can't really see it. So from the right side of the fabric, you can just barely see those stitches. This is the inside, and if you look real closely here, you can just barely see it, but the point is that it cut the fabric and finished the edge and sewed the seam all in one step. So I've purposely chosen a colored thread that you can really see how bad this is. This is one that I ran through. I used a 3-thread overlock using the right needle. That looks pretty pathetic. Not only did it stretch out the fabric, it just looks pathetic. So what I did was I took out the right needle, so now I'm using the left needle for a 3-thread. I don't need a lot of support here, I just need to finish the edges. So I'm gonna just test my new results. Now I haven't changed anything else. All the tension dials are on 4. We're using a 3-thread overlock using the left needle, which is considered a wide overlock with 3-thread. So let's just stitch and see what we have. One thing that I notice is that the fabric is stretching out a little bit. So let's see, that's not too bad, but the fabric is still stretching, as you can see. So how do you do this? I could put stabilizer, we could put clear elastic, but remember this knob up here. I can turn this to the left just a little bit, and that will raise the presser foot up, meaning that when the fabric goes through, the feed dogs won't stretch it as you're stitching. I'm gonna change to a couple more settings. On the side, you have the stitch length. I'm just gonna make the stitch length just a little bit smaller. Now you would think that would make it stretch, but it won't because we raised the presser foot. So let's try that first and see what our results are. Of course, all of this depends on the fabric you're using. And let's just see. Let's compare these. So you can see on here how the stitch length is just a little bit closer together than on here. It's still stretching just a little bit, so let's make one more change. These are the changes that you would do in this order if you wanted to test your fabric. Next, I'm gonna change the stitch width, and I'm just gonna change it to be just a little bit wider. That's right here on the 6th, where I have it on the 6th. When I turn this dial, the knife actually moves to the right, meaning the stitch is gonna be a little bit wider. I'm gonna change the stitch length back to where it was, to the 3.0, and I'm gonna try the stitch one more time. Just gonna chain off here. Let's see what this one looks like. Well, it's looking much better. You can notice, see these little ridges? This is the actual fabric because it has those grooves. But if you're serging fast and you get it through, this looks really nice. This also will stretch when you put it on, but at the same time, it's not woven like this one. See how this one is so awful? There you go. So again, the things to keep in mind. Here's a piece that looks really good. I changed to a left needle, I adjusted the stitch length, and I adjusted the stitch width. Those are the 3 main important things. The lever here raises or lowers your presser foot to make it really, really tight or really loose. I'm just gonna lower this to a really tight one just to show you the difference. Can you see how that looks? That's not bad, but it is different than these, so don't be afraid to change those knobs. See you next time for another serging tip.